In a related development, Afghanistan's presidential palace says Qatar has offered its assistance to facilitate the Intra Afghan talks. In a statement, the palace said Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al-Thani called Afghan President Ashraf Ghani to discuss the Doha deal. It said during the phone call, the two leaders discussed the implementation of the US-Taliban agreement and Intra Afghan talks. The palace said Al-Thani said both Kabul and the Taliban have to sort out their differences to form an inclusive government. It said Ghani thanked Sheikh Tamim and asserted he is open to further discussions about peace. For more on this, we are joined by Rahimullah Yusufzai, an Afghan expert from Peshawar, Pakistan. Thank you for your time. Despite the US President Donald Trump's call to Taliban leaders in order to achieve peace in Afghanistan after the Doha deal, the US has hit the Taliban fighters in Helmand. Do you think this strike can disrupt intra-Afghan talks?
I don't think this is going to disrupt the peace agreement or the proposed intra-Afghan dialogue. I think it has raised concerns whether this reduction in violence understanding can be sustained because the Taliban yesterday, when they resumed attacks against the Afghan government forces, had also announced that they would not attack the US and its allied forces. But now the US has carried out the airstrike against Taliban fighters in Helmand. That actually can provoke the Taliban to maybe also start attacking the US-led NATO forces. That could create problems. But I believe the US also had to take some action to reassure the Afghan government that it is standing by it. It will not abandon it, because Taliban had carried out a number of attacks against the Afghan forces and killed about 20 soldiers and policemen. So the US had to act. But we still don't know how many Taliban fighters have been killed in this US airstrike, whether it was symbolic or whether it was really a very big attack causing casualties among Taliban.
Mr. Yusufzai, both President Ghani and Abdullah have claimed victory in the presidential election. What political formula could find a way through the complexity of this situation, and how do you see President Ghani's future?
I think that is a big problem now, and it has to be resolved as soon as possible, because Ashraf Ghani is going to take oath for his second term in office on March 9th. And on March 7th, I believe. So if it happens, he takes oath, then Abdullah also has threatened to hold a separate swearing-in ceremony and take oath as the president of a parallel administration. And that, will create two parallel administrations in Kabul. Then Taliban will say, who represents whom, who is going to talk on behalf of the anti-Taliban forces. So there has to be some sort of an understanding, at least, even if they don't accept each other's victory, they can agree on forming a joint inclusive delegation to talk to Taliban.
Mr. Yusufzai, what could happen if the intra-Afghan talks are unable to achieve consensus?
I think starting the talks is going to be a challenge. They're supposed to begin on March 10th, and by that time, the prisoners' exchange should have taken place. It's not happening yet, although we have heard reports that some of the Taliban prisoners, have been removed from their cells and their biometrics have taken place. So maybe they are preparing to release them. Also, the Taliban have agreed to meet an Afghan government delegation for the first time in Qatar to discuss the issue of prisoners. So these are hopeful signs, and I think that this could lead to the talks, but that will have to be postponed beyond March 10, because the process of releasing the prisoners must start by that time. But to make the talks a success, that will be a big challenge, because this is not going to be easy.
That was Rahimullah Yusufzai, Afghan expert from Peshawar, Pakistan. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate that.